Hello, Nappers. I am Wild Neptune, and this is going to be an episode segment video, and it's going to be on choosing the gear that is right for your account. Now, gear is probably the true end game of the game, with countless hours killing a dragon or a banshee queen thing. I guess it's a king now in Banshee 13, or a giant bug. You'll get these materials, and you'll craft them, and you'll be really sad by about 99.99997 repeating of the results you get. However, a lot of players, I find, either throw away gear that they probably could use, or, maybe power up things that they should not. And I'm here to teach you how not to do these things, from a gear rolling expert and master in being upset about gear. So the first thing you have to do is, once you have all these materials, is look at your characters and see what you need. So it's going to depend on the level of your account. When I say level, I mean, are you a player who's just getting into, say, Wyvern 11 to 13? Or are you a player who's been farming for a while and have some characters built up already? Or are you an endgame player looking to push into higher tiers of Arena? And your answer to that will determine the answer to what kind of gear you need. It also depends, too, on the character you're using and for what you're using them. So, real quickly, let's look at the character I have, like, where is she? The Tamarin, who is everybody's go-to PvE only healer. And this is the gear having her. This gear is pretty bad by, like, end game player high ranking PvP player standards here. But you know what? Like, nothing is reforged. This is like a free piece from Hell Raid. But you know what? For PvE, this is good enough. This was good enough to clear just about every piece of content that I used her in. Maybe for some of the harder content, like, say, high level Abyss, I might have tuned her a little bit differently. But in the most part, something like this is fine. Don't go overboard if you're just using a character for PvE, unless it's like a challenge event, like Holo Trials, Daxikar stuff. However, for PvP, you're definitely going to want to go all out. So let's look at one of my better geared PvP units right now, like this T-Sir in here, which has 6 out of 6. Well, I guess this is a free piece because I can't get a better weapon, because this has so much crit chance on it. It's hard to replace, unfortunately. But her stat line is pretty good, and because I use her a lot in PvP, and I'm going to assume other players are also going to put their best gear on their PvP heroes, I had to do the same. So next up is, what do I actually craft? Well, there are typically 2 philosophies that I see used. One is the target philosophy. That is, so let's say, my Fine Maya, she's in full 90 gear, but some of it isn't, like, ideal. Some of it is, like, pieces that I could replace. So, like, this ring isn't that great, right, for her. It was actually taken from another character. I just put it on there to complete the set. So I want to replace this ring. And I could target this one slot in my crafts and hopes I get this ring. This is really good to do if you're only focusing on one character and can kind of ignore, everything else. The downside is that you're focusing on one character and that you need to have pretty good subs on this one piece to kind of justify your investment. And let me tell you, I have gone months targeting pieces of gear without getting rolls I feel is suitable. The other thing to do is to look at a bunch of characters you may want to build and find pieces that I would say you're kind of lacking in a single slot and start doing those couple of slots. So let's say I want to don't look at those stats. These are Jesus Christ, those are really bad. She's on like side gear. So let's say I want to improve my favorite Tenebria. I can look at the gear she has right now. I can see that this is pretty good as 20 speed, but it's defense main, so I might want to use it somebody else, right? I can look at all of these and see which one of these pieces do I think I want to improve the most. It will probably be the armor, honestly. I can look at other characters I might want to improve, like my Clury, who I think she might be ungeared right now. Oh no, she's geared, but gear's kind of Pepega too, because I moved all her gear to Cerise recently. I can look at her gear and see I might want to improve her necklace or her armor too. So in this case, because they both need armors and probably a neck also, I can look at those two pieces, because if I get multiple of a good piece, I can use them for both of them. Not only that, but they also share similar substats, right? So I can choose which one I actually want to focus on first. The downside in this, though, is that you're focusing on multiple heroes, and it might take longer for you to get everything you want for them. Now, finally, before we actually start crafting, the last thing you want to look at is, again, your overall gear quality that you have on your account right now before you actually craft, and the state of your account. So this account here is an endgame account, and a little bit later we will look at a alt account of mine, which is not endgame at all. It is a Pepega account. And you have to determine what kind of gear would actually be usable at that level. So right here, let's say I want to improve my Athletica right now. Reasonably, it would be the weapon and the ring slot I target. Probably the weapon first, because it is the easiest piece, I believe, to upgrade for me right now. I know already on this account that any weapon I roll that is, even if it's tied at 16, right, is hard for me to justify using right now. So, pieces that I don't think are gonna roll at least 17 speed, I'm probably not gonna touch for speed on this account. Same thing for rings. If I don't think a ring that I'm only going for speed is not gonna roll 17 speed on this account, I'm probably not gonna roll. That said, on my alt account, which I'm pretty sure my best weapon is like 12 speed, if I get a weapon that's like 14 speed, I am very, very happy with that. And that's really what it is. When you're first starting out, you might only have, say, 2 decent subs on a right side piece. let me try to find a piece here that is kind of like that. Although that may be a little bit hard to do. Here, like this one. So I speed and crit damage, right? And crit damage is a good sub, definitely on this piece. And speed isn't, it's not the greatest, but some characters don't want it on destruction. But health percentage and flat health, they're okay, but not optimal, obviously. Obviously, I would want crit chance on this. But if I was a new player or just starting out and I needed to make a destruction set, and this is what I had to use, I would use it. However, as your gear gets better, your requirements for gear you roll should also get higher. And what do you do with all this old gear? Well, you put it on like side characters, like this piece here. This bike is for one shot. I just put a bunch of my side gear that I don't really use onto her for the one shot, and you know what? It works out. It works out just fine. You also find that as your gearing improves and your standards get higher, you'll start rolling less gear and accumulate more gold. So a lot of the gold problems will start to be alleviated, just because you're at a threshold where, you know what, all this gear sucks. It doesn't suck. Your gear is just too good for the game, and the game doesn't want to give you any free handouts. So we'll go boom, and let's look at what we have. First things first is look at the main stats combined with these little icons here for the sets. As a newer player, so just getting to like wyvern hunting, offsets are fine. However, the game is at a state now where even mid-game players should be wary of mixing sets, especially on PvP heroes. It is pretty hard right now to justify not having full sets at the moment. So here, hit a range, and we can look at these. None of these are good, unfortunately. This one's almost good. This is a piece where it is crit chance, crit damage, and flat attack on attack percentage. The rolls are kind of low. However, they are probably 3 of the best substats for the main stat, but it's not a bad set. This is a piece where a new account would probably keep this as an offset, but a mid to late game account would toss it away because of the set. Unfortunately. We'll craft again. Alright. So another thing you might want to do is, if an epic piece has speed on it at 3 or higher, you probably, and this is what I usually do too, is save it to try to check for the speed rolls. Also, make sure you lock pieces that have coherent subs that you might want to use later. So this counter piece with attack, crit, catch, crit damage, it could be decent. Okay, let's look at what we have here. So some of these pieces are almost good. Not quite there. This is what... Like, this is a piece here where it's not great, but a newer account might use it because it has flat attack. I mean, the crit chance is low, but it's have attack main on destruction, and it is... That's kind of hard to get. Even, like, 2 decent subs on a ring with a good main attack and a good set. So something that you might roll on a newer account just to have it. But on this account, we are gonna pass on everything here. Oh, wow. See, this piece is really good. See, this is like exactly the kind of piece that I feel like I need. So we're gonna be really happy with this here. Now for the true sadness part, and that is rolling some of the gear. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take this piece of here. This piece, obviously the set and the main stat don't match up. So all we care about is hitting this third sub here, that is speed. So we're gonna throw a couple things in, and it just hit speed, we're gonna ignore it. It did not hit speed. I know that my rings are decent, so we're gonna pretend this doesn't exist anymore. It is dead to us. I should mention that stats do have ranges. I will put some of the ranges down in the description so you know. But just know that I believe health, defense, ER, and attack can roll, and I think effectiveness too, can roll between 4 and 8 on 85s. Crit damage can roll, what is it? 3 to 7? 4 to 7? Crit chance can roll 3 to 5. I think 6s are possible, but it is extremely rare. And speeds can roll 1 to 5, but getting 5s is also extremely rare for speed. The greatest, unfortunately. At this point here, I look at these subs, and the rolls aren't like incredibly great, so I'd have to compare it to the piece I'm going to replace, which would be this one, and see, what am I gaining, what am I losing? Well, I'm gaining crit chance and crit damage, right? I'm losing some defense, but I think that is okay, because I'm making up for it with replacing basically 3 other subs that are not crucial to the character. So for the time being, I am going to finish up the item, because it is a pretty direct improvement. Also, if you have charms, I do recommend you use your charms, especially on accessories like rings and necks, because you can get a lot of them from tower boxes and bind them with coins, and that means you can extract or sell these things here for more gold. So anything but flat attack here. Okay, that was a pretty decent roll. Once you have a piece of gear you like a lot, you can try to reforge it. Now, some of the 85s you have that are just, it was good enough to use as a new player is probably not going to be something you want to reforge. So something like this is a piece I'd say, it's good enough to use for now, but definitely not good enough to reforge. Mainly because reforged materials are a lot scarcer than actually gear crafting material. However, something like, say, trying to find a piece of gear that's worth reforging, like this one here. This is actually pretty good now. It's on the I'd say lower-ish end of gear I'd reforge, but it's definitely worth doing. I do have more gear here that is a little bit better I'd reforge in my Wyvern pieces. So let's try to find a piece here I haven't done in a while. Like this one. You have attack, crit damage, crit chance, and health. All good subs. Rolls have been okay, like not the highest, but overall, this is a piece where if I did not have so many weapons that look like this, I'd be perfectly fine doing this one. So right now, we're on my alt account, where the gear quality is lower, and the number of characters I have built is also lower. Right now, I'm still at a stage where I just want to build more characters, and getting into like optimized gear is not quite as important as just gearing things up. So right now, my next project is this Rowana here, which I'm gonna, in the next few days, raise up, awaken, things like that. But I do want to get some decent gear on her. So all this gear here, and the stats you might want to use. So speed stat is okay, health, defense, resist if I have any, and maybe immunity. Click on this, and we see here, how much gear do I have I can put on her. She doesn't really need immunity, so I can ignore it for and save pieces like this for other characters. But you never know, maybe I do have other pieces of immunity gear, like this one she could use too. I also have this defense gear, which is not the greatest, but serviceable. I have this defense gear too. So I already know here that I have two pieces of defense gear I can use for her 2 slots. So let's say I am going to go defense. So let's put this here and put this here. I have 4 slots open for the speed set she has to use now. So let's unclick everything but the speed set and see what kind of speed gear I can put on her. So in this account here, I am going to be a lot more lenient on the gear I keep and roll. But we're looking for speed with health, basically. Maybe ER too. Do one more. And for the last couple, we'll do some necks. Like this is 4 speed, hit set. Hit set not the hit set not the greatest, but could be decent on Clary. Okay, even that. So even on a new account, you probably want to stop here after a low roll. This one here is not exciting either because the percentage is low. Okay, I mean 7% starts to make up for it a little bit there. Give it another swing. Okay, not the greatest. This, again, is a piece where if I just want to get it geared up, I'd probably finish this. Just because, better than nothing. And although I would never reforge, even if it rolls insanely well for the next 3 rolls, it's not a piece I would reforge, but for this account level, it's usable. But because she's not ready to be get up right now, I can wait a little bit and see what I get in the future. Not everything has to be geared immediately. Now, a little bit later, not in another video, I will do a video about rolling gear, because this one is already on the longer side. So look forward to that sometime in the future. If you enjoyed this video and this content, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Catch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Neptune. Thank you for watching. Nep out.